Welcome to the 4th episode of Circus. Today we've got my friend Briana Bowie talking. She is a creative director, choreographer, performer of many different shows. And please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me here. I started off as a dancer, and then once I graduated from college with a dance degree, I joined an acrobatic dance company called Diavolo Dance Theater. And from there is where I started to do a little bit more acrobatics and circus, and then auditioned for Cirque du Soleil, and then auditioned for Forza Bruta. And so really kind of just started learning all different types of performance styles, whether it be, aerial or acro or whatnot. So.
Did you do any of that stuff when you were dancing growing up or in your college or university?
As a kid, I just tumbled. At your, dance studio, they have some tumbling mats out and they bring, a gymnastics teacher. So you just do that. But no, the acrobatics, I was always like really athletic kid, always loved to run, play sports and stuff like that. But it wasn't until after college when I joined Diablos, when more of the acrobatics came in and getting over my fear of heights because you're flying in the air.
Yep.
My very first day on their boat, it's rocking, and I'm petrified because I lied at the audition and said that I was not afraid of heights. And turned to one of the other performers and I said, "This is as high as it gets, right?" She looked back at me, she goes, "No, it gets much higher." Very sassy. I was like, oh crap, what did I get myself into? But you eventually, you're doing it day in and day out. Hopefully you get over your fear of heights, but.
You clearly did. I never knew you had a fear of heights because I remember watching you do bungee couples at Love, and that's pretty high to be actively dropped as well.
Yeah, no, I feel like when I'm in a harness, I feel completely comfortable. It's when I'm hanging by my own arm strength is when I get a little bit more scared because I have to save myself. So like in Zarkana, we had an aerial hoop act. And that one always gave me a little bit of fear. But yeah.
So did Diavolo have any harness work, or did you start with that at Forza Bruta or Iris? Or where?
Harness started at Iris.
Okay.
Yeah. Did a little bit of harness work there. So that was fine. It was very simple. Forza Bruta was much more like fast speed. You're on, you're in a horizontal position running, so you're using your obliques and you're flipping. So even then, that was fine for me. As long as I'm in a harness, I'm totally good. If I'm out of a harness, I'm a little bit more scared. But
fair.
With Diavolo, you start to learn to rely on or to trust the people that are going to catch you below. So when you're flying off a boat, I know that these guys are going to catch me, and they know that I'm going to give them a nice body position for them to catch.
Could you tell us about some of the different roles you played in the different shows over the years?
Yeah, so very first one was Iris in Cirque du Soleil. I played the Marquise character. So she was like a duchess, and I had a fan. It was a very fun character to play, to be royal and regal. So that was a fun one, as well as I understudied one of the clowns in the show, Katerina. And that particular clown's background was miming. So that was a fun, interesting challenge. And she was very particular. And you can see her today at Drawn to Life, and she also did Curios. She was a fun person to work with because she is so in love with her craft. And to share that and have that attention to detail being shared with you was a lot of fun. And then Zarkana, I played T-Boss, so bossy little girl. And I also played The Apprentice. So that one was really fun, quirky one. And the two were very different to play because T-Boss was, this bossy little girl, and, she moved a little bit slower. Not slower. The Apprentice moved much quicker. She was very fast and quirky. I always thought like she's being electrocuted because the wires weren't always there, because the backstory was that the scientists experimented on the apprentice for his different things. So she was always just a little like jerky and kind of scattered, which was really fun to play, moving really quick around the room. So when I would jump between the two roles, I always found I was much more tired after I played the apprentice versus T-Boss. Love, I was a dancer, acrobat, aerialist in that. I played Blackbird for a little bit, which is fun. So you get a little bit more acting in that. I think that's it. I mean, in my earlier dance career, always playing different characters, or as you do when you're dancing, you're playing different roles.
I always enjoyed the acting in the sense of when it was the groupies and the kiosk came down and it was just still holding on, screaming like that.
Yeah,
That
the
was awesome.
scream was always fun. If somebody was like, I don't feel like screaming today, will you do it? I was like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was, and always trying to find a different way to scream.
I feel like that could be rough if you found a different way and it turned a little too death metal.
In general, I mean, because we did a lot of screaming in that show. So finding, just whenever the Teddy Boys were around, so finding those moments where you're saving your voice a little bit. So that was good. You kind of do a little fake screaming right before you know you have to be the screamer. So you're like, and then your part kicks in. Then you'll kick it in. But,
Gotcha. What would you say from your dance background was the most important thing for getting into performing in these types of shows? Was it be partnering or the tumbling you did, or?
Yeah, I mean, partnering is always helpful because you have to trust the person that's lifting you and you have to help them, you have to know how to be lifted. But in general, performing became a bigger love of mine when I was 16 and I joined a dance theater company. And from there, kind of shaped who I am today as far as wanting to tell stories, because that artistic director was all about using dance as a medium to tell stories. So going from there and just moving that into the circus element has been a huge influence in what I do today.
That makes a lot of sense, because I always think of like coming from an acrobatic background, there's like a difference between being an athlete and being an artist. And I feel like that ability to tell a story on stage is so important, because I very much don't. I fall into the here's my backflip, peace and love. And I feel like the people like you, Ross Gibson, Wellington, all these very captivating performers, there's always that ability to emote and tell the story. Like I know one of the things that you did was choreographing for One Night for One Drop. And I remember watching the video interview with you about that, where you were talking about the different types of animals, like the caribou are big and strong, so their chest is puffed out and so on. Like,
if you're going to choreograph about animals, then you can't just make an overlaying like this is how an animal moves. Every animal moves different. So that was really fun, trying to find out, okay, how will a caribou move? How will a squirrel move versus a lynx? All that. So that was fun to do, but then also to do it in an artistic way where you know that these are humans playing animals, but yeah, finding the different and using contemporary or, jazz or whatnot, how will they move? So.
How do you convey those ideas to people who don't just inherently get that or come with that?
Well, for me, what I like to do is use a lot of visuals. So doing a lot of research and putting together like a little whatever PowerPoint or something, you put together a document to help inspire the cast to understand what the whole vision's going to be, whether it actually turns out that way or not. To put that together, I think is super important. Sometimes with working with acrobats, maybe they're not going to pick up the choreo as quickly, and that's totally fine. I also, when I'm choreographing for acrobats, know that I'm choreographing for acrobats, so I'm not going to give them the hardest dance choreography. And then just keep breaking it down. Or you use like little cheat words like, okay, and star, psh, slide. Those things I think help, because counts alone sometimes are not gonna always sink in. But yeah, having visuals explaining the whole function of the project, giving that whole vision, I think is super helpful. And hopefully, you inspire enough that they're going to want to contribute ideas, or, maybe I give a little bit of choreography and they're like, oh, well, how about this? I love artists that propose, because everybody has their own skills and talents, and I'm not going to be able to do what you do. I can tell you, like, I want this visual in the air, and then you show me 5 different ideas, like, yes, that's what it is. I think the worst thing that an artist can do is say no. Hey, can you do this? No. Okay. Well, what can you do? I don't know. You tell me. Well, I am asking you if you can do this now. Okay.
Yeah.
But so it's really great if artists can propose. And I think part of that, hopefully, if you inspire them enough, then they will propose ideas and come to the table with certain things. So yeah.
That makes sense.
And I love working with artists that inspire me. You know, I did the Chinese pole act. It was because I saw Jenya in a performance, and I said, oh God, I want to see that, but I want to see 3 of them or 5 of them, you know, these poles. And he's so fluid with his movement too, that it's kind of like dance.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you'd have to be if you're a crazy person who does shirtless Chinese pole. That's one must be in very good control of what they're doing to not flay themselves alive doing that particular act. Now that performance is no longer your bread and butter and instead you're doing the creative direction and the choreography, how did you go about pivoting into that career? Like, what was your first experience with direction, formally or informally, and how did you transition from being on stage to backstage?
Well, I think as a choreographer, and I've started choreographing very young at age 12.
Oh, wow.
So finding that like artistic vision, or as we talked about, story that you want to tell, that started really young. And then in college, I did a retrospective show of all my acts. So in that small way, I was directing or choreographing dance and stuff like that. My very first big contemporary circus dance project was Connect. And a lot of that was inspired from doing One Drop, from watching Nikki and Letitia do Hearst and how they put things together. And again, they use those visual aids. So that's something I credit to them learning, because they were so inspiring to me in their directing style. And being within Cirque at that time, probably like 10 years, having built maybe the confidence to go, okay, I think I know how to put this show together, you know, and also relying on the different artists, like, hey, I want this, can you put it to this piece of music? And then working together with them was a lot of fun. So that Connect was the first like big project, directing project. But then doing my own videos, learning more from that, which is a whole different type of directing style, right? Because you're directing for camera versus for live performance. So you have to think about what are the camera angles and how do you want to tell the story through the lens, which I'm still learning about. Feel like I've got a lot more to learn. And maybe the biggest thing I could tell myself now is talk to more filmmakers, you know, directors of photography. That would be helpful, I think, today, because I'm kind of just winging it and learning on my own, or you know, learning through Alec Clausen and my other cinematographer, Rico, just kind of them teaching me or telling me, hey, you can do this, you can do that. It's like, oh, great, awesome. That gives me so many more ideas about how to go about this.
Well, I'll say from being on the other side of one of your projects, the bar fight thing, it felt very planned out and smooth and logistically sorted. Like, because I know we didn't film that necessarily in chronological order, which is par for the course for doing film.
Yeah.
But as one of the people who was in that bar fight, just kind of watching it and being like, oh, I wonder how this is all going to come together. And then seeing the final product of it, I was like, oh, you had the plan all sussed out right from the get-go. That was beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah. No, Alec and I went together and we checked out the space, and I said, where do you think for the camera is going to be the best, you know, most visually stimulating? Is it this wall? Is it that wall? And then I started to plan out where the fight took place as, you know, as the camera moved through the space. I was like, okay, that fight's going to happen there. And that one's going to lead to this one. So that was all pre-planned, and it had to be because we had such limited time, right?
Yeah.
So when we were at Circus Center, I put, you know, the little gymnastics blocks. Okay, that's that table, and this is this bar, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure in the moment when we were rehearsing, everyone knew what was happening because they didn't know the space.
Yeah.
But once we got into the space, like, oh, okay, that's where that's what that was, and that was what that is.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun to put together, and a challenge at the same time because the ceiling height was low. So as much as I knew that and tried to pre-plan, I was hoping we could get a couple of more like tosses, higher things. But yeah.
All the logistical things and all the behind the scenes things you've been watching have obviously also paid off, because the background set design that you did for the hair hanging act, that's so cool. It looks like the Death Star. And you said it was blinds that you made that with?
Yeah, vertical blinds.
Crazy.
Which I have to credit to, I was watching a video and there's this guy that does different backgrounds for his church. So he was teaching of what you can do to make lights reflect off of objects. As long as something is a light color, you know, if that light hits it, it's going to reflect off into something interesting. So he explained in the video exactly like how to make it and So it was very informative, and I thought, I got to have that background.
Oh, that's super cool.
And then just getting the little LED lights, bar lights, to kind of make it look a little bit more futuristic, or hopefully that like we're in a game.
Well, looked both to me. So do you have like a favorite genre or style? Because I remember at ACS you did like a comedic tango act, and that was super fun. The bar fight was a bit comedic. Wasteland with Chinese pole was not. The hair hanging is not. Is there like a vibe you love the most, or are you just seeing all the different things?
No, I think it really just depends on what I'm feeling at that particular time. Like if I need more comedy in my life, if I feel like, okay, I've been doing something very serious, okay, let's pivot. Because those are both aspects to my personality. I'm very sensitive on one side and then very goofy on the other. So I deeply need to express both of those at some point or another. And I think that also started in college, because I would do some comedy pieces and then some really like deep, dark pieces or very light pieces. And every single time a dance concert came out, I was like, what am I feeling today? What do I need in my life? So I don't have a favorite genre, although comedy is a lot of fun to me. I wanted to do with the hair hang act, I just wanted to do something cool, like something hopefully fresh and still fun, but yeah.
Oh, mission accomplished. It was super cool. How was it? Because another one you've done was with Imagine Dragons and Cirque du Soleil. How did it differ in terms of your approach? Because obviously the venue is different. The sight lines are different. Who you're trying to perform outwards to is different from, say, if you're on a Cirque du Soleil stage and the audience is all roughly in front of you, or film projects where you can choose the framing and things like that. What was that like?
That was a project that we put together very quick. I think we only had like a couple of weeks notice before we did it. And I was given a couple of prompts. They sent me a video of Imagine Dragons, I think on MTV award show or something. They said that they didn't want too much choreography. The focal point needs to be the band.
Right.
So we were the support. So finding what type of dance choreography could I do that would be supportive but not too flashy. So that was one thing. But I didn't find the dimensions of the stage until I think either the day before or the day of, and I'd already choreographed everything. So that was a challenge. And I want to say that runway was super long, and I hadn't choreographed any running. So I remember being on the spot maybe the day of and just like, okay, guys, we're going to run. We got to get all the way to the end of the catwalk and onto this, platform. So, sometimes you just have to pivot and you've got to make changes happen in the moment. And then it was really fun with the lead singer. I mean, he was kind of just weaving in and out and finding moments with Jimmy and then with the dancers. So that was a lot of fun. It was, put together pretty quick, but a fun project. Even though, doing performances at Love for 6 years and whatnot, that one I was nervous. I have to admit, I was nervous. I mean, I'd never performed in a stadium before. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Do you have any particular like favorite memories from any of those shows, or sort of standout milestones in a sense?
Well, with Diavolo, the biggest thing that I carry with me is the sense of teamwork and trust. We were a dance company, but we were also an acrobatic company. So learning what it means to be an acrobat and having eyes all around you and trusting one another. I mean, I carry that with me today when I'm choreographing or directing Circus. It's like, you guys have to pay attention to everything. As dancers, sometimes we have to do our job dancing, but we're not always aware what's over our head or what might be flipping next to us. So having that awareness, I really carried with me, and will always hold that company dear to me, and Jacques Heim, who is the artistic director of that company. Because in Diavolo 2, we were the technicians.
I see.
Or like we were unloading the truck, building the sets, breaking them down after the show, putting them back in. So it was exhausting, but I didn't know that other people do these things, which is a great experience too at the same time, because it builds a lot of character, it builds a lot of bonding between you and your team. And so I wouldn't have changed it for anything. I'll put it that way. It was really great.
I think it gives you a lot of perspective and appreciation as well for the people who are then doing that for you when you're at a company like Cirque. It's a lot of work. People don't understand, like, it's not just, oh, I'll just, clip you in, done, easy day. Like, no.
Absolutely. No, you definitely appreciate them more. Iris was part of the creation for that. So that was a lot of fun. And the group of people in that particular cast were amazing. And it was my first Cirque du Soleil show. So that will always stay with me as one of my favorite shows. I think I've loved every show that I've been a part of. Love was definitely the longest show that I was ever a part of. And I think the thing that a lot of artists take away from shows once they leave, I mean, yes, of course, you love the shows, but you also love the people in the shows.
Yeah.
So like Dasha and all the other girls in my dressing room, that's the biggest thing that I miss today now that I'm not performing is getting to see those ladies every single day and the bonds and friendships that you have with them.
That was always the same for me, like whether it was on stage or backstage, just like that camaraderie and that sort of social circle of people and relatable.
Your confidants.
Yeah, very much so. When you were transitioning into being more of a choreographer and then into more creative direction, I feel like we always have this identity as being this performer or being on stage. You were doing both simultaneously to some extent, but what was it like for you to make this sort of dive into the deep end? And would you have any advice for other people who are feeling kind of lost during a pivotal moment in their career?
I think it's always important to find out what you're passionate about, which I've learned from my husband or my sister. They're like, not everybody has passions, Briana. I'm like, huh?
Yep.
I only say it that way because I don't know it any other way. Like I've been so passionate about performing and choreographing and directing that to not have that, like you said, can be in some ways devastating when you can't do what you love, because it is so ingrained in our identity. I was doing both the directing and choreographing and performing kind of simultaneously, like you said. And then when I decided I wanted to stop performing, I slowly started to phase out, like I went on call. So that was helpful that it wasn't just a clear cut. So that was in 22, at the very end of 22, when I stopped performing. 2023 is when I was getting more jobs choreographing. But then 24, there was like nothing. And it can be a big hit to your ego because you're like, well, when is the next job coming? And what do I need to be doing? Sending out my CV. I've got this, what you feel is this really rich CV or really rich demo reel, but it could also just be the market. So approaching the end of 24 and into 25, I was like, okay, I'm just going to continue to create. So that's where the bar fight video came. And that's where the hair hang video came. It's like, let me just keep creating and putting work out there, because also in this day and age of social media, it's really difficult. If you're not putting things out there, it's really easy to be forgotten. Yeah. But I'm not somebody that posts things every single day. I just don't have the patience or the time for it. And sometimes I'm also like really critical. Like, is anyone going to care about this? Like, should I even post this? But I would say to anybody making the transition, I thought it was going to be easier than it was because I felt like I had done a lot of work going into it. Just know that there's going to be dips and you just have to keep pushing and keep doing what you love, keep creating. If this is your field of what you want to do, keep creating, because people need to see that creativity. They need to see what you can do, what you can deliver, what's in your head. It's not enough to just tell people what you can do. I think in this particular business, you have to be able to show them because everybody has ideas. Yeah. But I think you want to work with people that are implementing those ideas and not just saying they have them. So yeah, I think be patient with yourself and keep pushing. And also if you have a good support system, like my husband's he's been very supportive. Emotionally, financially, he's just been there for me. So that has been huge to have. And for him to also be like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, it's going to happen. And now I'm going and I'm going to be doing another, like 1 or 2 other jobs in the Middle East again. It took another year, but patience.
They're big gigs.
Yeah.
Those are big things. And
also, I mean, yeah, there's so many performers out there, but generally, shows need quite a number of performers. So your likelihood of getting jobs, I think, is better. But when you become a choreographer or just a director, you don't need as many choreographers on one particular job. Or you don't need as many directors on one particular. You need 1 or 2 maybe. Yeah. So the field is a little tougher to break into.
Is there any particular advice you would give? Like, what do you look for in a performer when you're scouting for things or trying to figure out what you need for a show?
Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody just asked me because they submitted their demo reel and they said, what can I do for the next one to help increase my chances? And I said, I want to see who you are as the artist, because there's so many great technical performers, whether that be aerial or acrobatics. But if I'm creating something from scratch, I want to know who you are artistically, who you are as a character, or your personality, because I want to work with people that are going to help inspire the project, as well as I think, artists would want to work with inspiring choreographers or directors and not somebody who's like, do this, whatever. So yeah, I think to show not only what you can do, but who you are, someone that's gonna grab your attention. And then for your demo reel, like, put your best things first. If we're doing a casting and 150 people submit videos, we're not going to watch the whole video. Literally, we're going to see within the first 30 seconds if this is appealing, and if it is, maybe we'll watch a little bit more. But if it's not within those first 30 seconds, okay, next person, because you just don't have the time. And also today they're not doing auditions like they used to. It's a lot of it is submissions. So submit your CV, submit a really great demo reel. And also, I just want to say, if it's not a show reel, don't say show reel. Just say demo reel.
What is the distinction then?
It's actual clips from shows. And it's fine if it's just a demo reel. It doesn't mean, anything wrong. But it's just, for me, it's just the difference. And I've talked to other choreographers and directors. It's the difference between an actual show reel and, like, if it's you in class doing a dance combo, or you at the gym doing some flips, that's a demo reel, not a show reel.
I want to ask you a bunch more questions then about demos. All right. Demo advice with Briana Bowie. So, what would you say is an ideal length for a reel? And what is like the maximum acceptable length? Because as you just said, you're probably not going to see the whole thing.
Yeah. I think max is 3 minutes. And some people, I think, would say that that's even too long. For me personally, my own demo reel is about 3 minutes. And that was just because I just couldn't figure out what to cut. And I wanted to show as much as I can. But yeah, I say max is 3 minutes. And ideal maybe 1.5 minutes. But it depends on what you're showing us too. So it's also, I think, good, which I never did when I was performing. It's good maybe to just put, like, this is my dance reel. This is my aerial reel. This is my acrobatic reel. I kind of mixed it all up in one reel when I was submitting for things. But especially if they're looking for a specific thing. Okay, I'm looking for an aerialist. Great. What can they do? And what types of aerial acts can they do? And then, okay, what can they learn? Choreography? Can they learn some dance if we needed to do a little dance sequence? Okay, there's their dance reel. And that's okay too if that's just in class. We just want to know if you can learn choreography, right?
Right.
And then whatever else that you can do. So I think that's important. But really, like, you don't have to do a long intro. I learned that mistake. Don't do a long intro. Hit us with something quick. Boom, 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 boom. Now show us.
There's a great quote from Joe Elliott, the singer of Def Leppard, that says, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus." And I feel like that is the truest thing ever for demo reels, especially when there's like 100 submissions and you're just like, okay, you did a backflip. Oh, they did a backflip too. Great.
And the other thing that I find is that people are just submitting their Instagrams. Here's my Instagram. Don't make me search through your Instagram for what I'm looking for. Send me specifically, if we're looking for a silks artist, send me your silk stuff. If we're looking for a sear wheel breakdancer, send me your sear wheel breakdancing demo reel. But don't send me your Instagram where I have to now go and look through. We don't, there's no time.
Yep.
And
yeah, definitely.
And you're limiting your chances of getting hired because are they actually going to take the time to do that?
Do you often get demo reels, especially when it's something from a show or an ensemble, where the person's not labeled? Because I feel like that's also the kiss of death in a demo reel, where it's just like, don't make it hard for the person watching.
Yeah. If it's a big group number, yeah, okay, I can see that, yes, you did this big group number, but it's more important that we see you as the individual. So some people will say, like, center right person, or, far left person, whatnot. So that's helpful. And or I think the old school thing was to kind of like put a brighter circle where you were. So yeah, that's helpful. And in this day and age, cameras are so good too.
Do you have a preference over a show footage or a show reel versus a demo reel? And I only ask because all of my demo reels were lies. They were sweet, sweet lies. It was like a trick I did once 7 years ago, and I was like, geez, never doing that again. But it looks impressive. Put it in. And I feel like it's so easy to fake your skill level with a demo reel, especially at a gym setting where it's like, oh, I did like 25 takes of this and just included the one. Have you noticed any difference? Does it make any difference in the caliber of performance?
I think that you definitely do think of that sometimes, like how many times do they have to shoot this to get that shot? But if you go down that rabbit hole, then you might not ever hire anybody from their demo reel. I think the biggest difference is, yes, we see your training videos. Your show reel is going to show us the professional work that you have done. Okay, so they've done professional work. They've performed multiple times in a week or whatnot, or for a contract. So I think that that's helpful. But if we really love the person from a demo reel, it's like, okay, maybe, they just haven't had that break, or they're really young, and so they haven't gone into a show yet, but you can just see that they are really good at what they do, then yeah, you could cast them off of that. I mean, when I was younger, my demo reel from college, auditioning for Diablo was not that massive. It was just those dance shows that I did in college. So had I done any professional work? No. But could I do what they were doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you care about seeing things like fitness conditioning or flexibility or things like that, generally speaking?
Not for me.
Yeah.
No. Although I did one of those when I auditioned for Larev.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did one of those videos. But again, you can kind of cheat that, right? It's like, did they just do it one time?
Yeah.
I remember I had to climb the rope, and the person filming was like going upwards, so you couldn't see how far I'd actually climbed because I had never done a rope climb before. So
fun.
Yeah, no. So
Yeesh.
Just doing that, but no, I think keep it short and sweet. Hit us with the best things that you can do. Make it easy for us to look at your reel. Put everything in your CV. Yeah.
Does music matter?
Sometimes. I don't know that it should, but sometimes, like, if I don't like the song, it gets really hard to watch. You're like, gosh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put something easy to listen to.
Okay.
I wouldn't put heavy metal.
But that's easy to listen to. Just shrieking and gurgling. Distorted guitars.
You're just like, I just want to watch. I just want to watch, but I can't.
I don't know if this is much of an issue for dancing, but within acrobatics, I see a lot of repetition and a lot of redundancy.
Yeah.
Is that also a thing that you have to contend with quite a lot? Because you'll see, like, if someone does, for example, a triple twisting double layout, we know you can backflip. You don't need to include a backflip and a straight backflip and so on. And I feel like you can decrease the length of your demo by just simply hitting them with the best stuff and being like, look, I did it. And I know, similar to what you said about you didn't know what to cut, I feel like often these are kind of our babies and we don't want to be like, well, this one's better than this one or something. But for me, if I see two combos that are very similar, I'm just like, just do the good one. Like,
yeah. Well, and some of the stuff that was like hard for me to cut in mine was when I was emoting and I was trying to show my, a close up of my artistic style versus just doing the dance combos. But yeah, you do get repetitiveness. I would even say, like, sometimes doing the same trick over and over again. Like, okay, well, we saw that trick already. I don't mind if you show a backflip and then you show your, double full or something like that. Dance-wise, if you show me an extension 3 times in your video, like, I know that you can do an extension or whatnot. So a variety, I think, is good to include. Don't repeat. Yeah.
What about audition tips? Because it's a different scenario when you're up there under the pressure. Do you have any advice for people who have to audition who might not have that experience before? Because I feel like a lot of acrobats definitely don't.
Yeah. In the dance world, I feel like we audition a lot, even just to get into college or whatnot, or to get into a company. I think the biggest thing would probably be do what they ask of you in the audition. If they ask you to do a double turn, sometimes just do the double turn. Don't do the triple or the quad, because they want to know sometimes, can you just follow directions? We don't want to see always, like, they want to know sometimes, I think, if you're a team player. Are you going to match everybody, or are you going to be the star, the diva? it all just depends on what they're searching for. And hopefully if they give you an improv section, then you can show all the amazing things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're giving you the combo, do the combo the way that they said it, to the counts that they told you to do it to.
What about, are there any things like with regards to preparing for the audition, or like the day before, the day of, what you should wear, what you should definitely not do or wear, things like that?
Scott, you're asking me things. I haven't been to an audition in forever.
Ah, fair. But
So I'm trying to think
but
back.
maybe on the other side of the fence, so to speak.
I would say, okay, so you want to bring, okay, I can tell you this. I did take a friend to an audition recently, and he didn't have his headshot or CV. And I said, you didn't bring it? No, I didn't think I had to. And maybe you don't have to these days, but we ran to FedEx Kinko's. You didn't.
I've never taken a headshot or a CV. Makes sense.
It's important so that they can remember you. Okay,
Mm.
and they see your photo on there, they flip it over. Okay, these are all the things that you've done. It just, again, make it easy on them.
Mm-hmm.
I had one time when we were auditioning in New York for Diablo, and I was running the audition, somebody came and they had their CV and headshot rolled up and they handed it. And we grabbed it and we're like, thank you. And we opened it up. Now, the benefit is he was memorable, because we're like, who is this person that just gave us his crumpled CV? And he was actually a brilliant dancer.
Did he get the job?
He got the job.
Nice.
He got the job, but had he not been a great dancer, it would have been like, okay,
Yeah.
choss.
Yeah.
But no, he was great. But I don't recommend that. Don't crumple it and hand it to the audition coordinator. I think also expect that you're gonna get cut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not personal. Hopefully it doesn't affect your ego and you can move on and go to the next one, or, you know, improve for the next one. I mean, my very first Cirque audition, I got cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And the second and the third and the fourth.
Mine, I almost, you know, they went into the improv section, and I'm a floor work girl and I want to do all this floor work. And a girl came and leapt on top of me, and she didn't see me, I didn't see her. We both screamed. "Ah!" And that was the end. I was like, okay, cut. You two are a mess. And I just remember thinking, did you not see me on the floor? I'm right here. No, you were looking at them going, ha ha. But it was fine because it wasn't meant to be. And the second time I went, I was much more aware of what was happening around me. And if I was going to do floor work, I was going to make sure no one was leaping over my head. So
Acrobat brain.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Was that, because I know everyone has different experiences with auditioning for Cirque du Soleil particularly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to act in a sense?
Yeah. So at the dancer audition, 15 years ago, maybe even 16, you would do your general dance audition. You know, you do your jazz or ballet, and then you would do your partnering. And then they would give you either like a word or a phrase that you had to do an improv to.
Mm.
So I remember one of them was, for somebody, was sensual snake or white worm or even Mardi Gras. I got the green lizard from Astaire. And Krista Monson was casting director at that time.
Nice.
And I remember her telling me, okay, I want you to use your dance acrobatics to play this green lizard that we have at Astaire. And they partnered me up with another guy.
Mm.
He was kind of an acrobatic dancer as well. So we're doing our thing, we're improvising, but also we don't know each other. So I'm trying to figure out how do I interact with you? How do we do these things together? And at the very end, I like jump on him and then licked his face.
I was going to say, was there an eyeball lick at some point?
There was a lick. And then right at that moment, Krista goes, okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Full contact.
That was the end of that particular portion of the audition. No, but that was fun.
In my experience, at least, most gymnasts, trampolinists, tumblers, trickers, free runners, people who are not from the dance world where there are such regimented auditions, stunts would be the only exception I can think of to this, are completely unaware of the casting profile as even a thing that exists.
Yeah.
And I think that so many people get their hearts broken because they get cut and they feel like they did an excellent job, and they probably did. But if the role is looking for a 6-foot-tall white male who has this skill set, and you happen to be a completely different height, skin color, weight, whatever it is, your skills are essentially irrelevant for this particular role.
Yeah, I mean, in the most recent casting call that we did, we had a lot of people sending us their stuff. And for some of the particular profiles, it was very difficult to narrow it down because we just needed 2. And you might have had 5 really great candidates, but you can't employ all of them. So it just comes down to who fits the profile the best. Yeah, and those are probably the hardest calls to make afterwards. Like, I'm really sorry, but I will keep you in mind for the next one, you know, because I'm going to keep you in the back of my head.
Yeah.
When your profile fits the next project, I'm going to call you.
Definitely.
And I think submit for things like read the casting notice and submit for it appropriately. If they're not asking for, I don't know, if they're not asking for German wheel, don't submit German wheel, you know, or if they're not, I don't know, if they're just not casting for a particular thing, you can always ask, but if there's very specific things on that casting list, that's what they're searching for.
Fair.
Yeah.
If you could go back and give any advice to yourself when you were first starting out, what would that be, if anything?
I don't know. I think be patient, be inquisitive, ask questions. I would have wanted to study more, like everything, whether that be a whole bunch of different genres of dance or of acrobatics, or even, you know, now that I've been making more videos, watching more films and the different filming styles, techniques. I love watching documentaries, whether that be the making of something or just in general documentaries. I think how something becomes what it is really interesting. So I love all the kind of behind the scenes stuff. So I think educating myself more, because as a kid, I just did, you know, dance in my dance studio. The teachers didn't always tell me like, oh, this is Limon technique or this is Martha Graham technique. They were just teaching it. And then I got to college and I was like, oh, well, this is Martha Graham. Oh, I already know this. I didn't know that this was what it was, you know, or whatnot. Yeah, being more inquisitive and then talking to everybody. Talk to the artistic directors. Maybe ask them for a cup of coffee and pick their brains, because it's invaluable knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, last question. You're moving to Florida soon, and that's going to be a whole new adventure for you. If you could watch this again, and you'll be able to in like 10 years or so, and look back to now, what goals do you have? Do you have any sort of check marks that you really want to accomplish between now and then, or what do you think the future holds?
Well, right now I'm doing a lot of freelance work. What I would love to be a part of one day is an actual company where I'm working with them on the regular basis of creating shows. So to be part of a team would be lovely, would be probably the ultimate dream. And to just know that I can continuously create something new every single year, or, you know, hopefully every year. But to be part of an actual company where you're employed on a regular basis and you're creating with them, and to be part of that particular creation team. So now you're not learning a creation team every single project. You know that team front to back. You know what each other can provide for the project, and there is a shorthand on what you all are going to do. Yeah.
Get that nice smooth process instead of learning a new language, so to speak, every single time.
Yeah. That would be, I think that would be ideal. And with my husband in the military, like, we're going to travel different places all the time. So I don't need to be in one place, but yeah.
Well, where can people find you, contact you, hire you? She's awesome.
Okay, so you can find my website at brianabowie.com, and on Instagram and Facebook at Briana Bowie. And that's it. I'm not on any other platforms. I keep it simple because I'm old. I just can't.
If you say so.
I can't get myself to be on any other platforms. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope that in 10 years when you watch this again, you're like, yeah, that's me now.
Boom. Done.
Check.